So this is the Insta360 1R, probably one of the best action cameras in the market today. And Insta360 just came out with their latest X2, but I still feel like this is a pretty unique camera. So I've had like 2 weeks to play with this thing. I tried it in a couple of different situations. And today I'm going to give you my thoughts about the Insta360 1R. Now let's talk about the hardware specs first of all, because this is what makes this camera really unique. So this camera is a fully modular action camera. So they have basically 3 components, which is the brain, the battery, and then the camera. You can use the same body setup for multiple different camera styles. So this box is the twin edition. So this comes with 2 lenses, the 360 lens and the regular wide angle lens. And then they also have a third lens, which is the 1-inch sensor lens for this same camera. So the idea is that you should be able to use the same brain for all these different lenses and the same battery. Using the regular camera, you can also decide whether you want this to be a self-facing screen or you want to have it, away from you. So it supports both modes, which is super cool. You can hot swap the batteries. If one of the components goes bad, you can just replace that one. So I really like this idea of this whole modular design. It's quite easy to use. It doesn't seem like it would be waterproof, but it is. I did try it out in a couple of different situations when me and my family went for a staycation last weekend, and we were playing around with it in the water and it seemed to be perfectly fine. So definitely the modular aspects of this camera are very cool. But in this review, I'm not going to focus about the other lenses because I honestly haven't really tried them out. The main camera that I was interested in with the Insta360 1R is the 360 camera, because that gives you the most unique look and the most unique experience from any other action camera on the market. So let's talk about it. The last video I published on this channel was a vlogging test with the Insta360 1R. That was my first day using the camera, and I was just taking it out, testing it out, seeing how it sounds, seeing how it looks, what you can do with it in post-processing. And I was seriously impressed. First of all, the field of view is absolutely amazing. You can get up to a 140-degree angle. So that is massive, more than any GoPro is capable of. And it gives you this really unique look, which I don't think any other non-360 camera can replicate, because it's just capturing everything all around you and above you. So you can decide where you want to look and up to 140 degrees without distorting the image. Other absolutely amazing thing about this camera is that it can delete your selfie stick in post-processing. There's actually 2 lenses on this camera, for the front and the back. So it's getting 180 degrees on this side and 180 degrees on this side, and then stitching that together in the body itself to give you that complete 360 look. Now, it doesn't work with the GoPro mount for a tripod mount like this, but Insta360 does give you a special mount over here, which is a bit more low profile, and then you can put it on any selfie stick. This is a very basic mobile selfie stick that I had. They don't give you the selfie stick in the box, but I was able to use this and I got great results with that. It completely deletes the whole selfie stick from the video automatically, and it gives this incredible effect. It feels like there's like a drone following you around. So that is one of the coolest features about this camera. The second thing which I got kind of used to after using this camera is that you don't have to care about which direction the camera is pointing in, right? So typically you'd want to frame your shot, make sure everything is in frame, and then maybe the angle and all that. You don't have to care about any of that with this camera. You just stick it out. It's capturing everything at every angle. So you can go on your computer, on your phone, decide the angle and the shot, move between different angles in the same shot. So all that flexibility is amazing. If you're looking for more details about the Insta1 X2, a lot of that same stuff will apply to this camera as well. Now this camera will record in 360, 5.7K up to 30 frames a second, 4K up to 50 frames a second. So you can even get slow motion in your 360 videos, though I wouldn't recommend shooting at 4K on this camera in 360 mode, because you will get a pretty soft image. The 5.7K is required because you're capturing so much data all around you, so you really need that extra resolution, especially if you want to zoom in a little bit or reframe or get that 140 degree angle. If you're okay with a slightly lower angle of view, then it should be fine. But I mean, that's the real fun of this camera, to get that ultra wide look. I definitely recommend shooting at 5.7K, 30 frames a second or 24 frames a second. That should give you the best results. Now, they do have slow-mo modes on this camera as well, but I would not recommend shooting on slow-mo on an action camera. The highest I would push to is about 60 frames a second. 120 frames a second on these small sensors with the limited light capability that they have is not going to get you a really good result. So stick to 60 frames a second. 120 frames on these cameras is pushing it if you want good quality images. Now, speaking of the image quality, I was quite pleasantly surprised by the image quality coming out of the Insta360 One R. In good lighting conditions, it looks amazing. You can actually zoom in a little bit as well because of that extra higher resolution, really crisp images. You do have to be a little bit careful when you're handling the camera, because if you touch one of the lenses, you will get a little bit of a blur. That's kind of your fault, that's not the camera's fault. And at this incredible size, at 5.7K, I would say it's super nice. Now, the actual usability of this camera, I would say, is more of you set it once and then you just hit record and that's it. Because fiddling around with this outside to change the menu options and stuff is a little bit difficult. So as you can see, the screen on this device is pretty small, and to use it outside, it's a little bit fiddly. Some of the controls come in from the right side where the camera is. So it is a little bit difficult to use, I would say. But most of these action cameras, the way I use them, I set them up once and then I'm just hitting record. And kind of a good idea to do that before you get out and start shooting on this thing. It's probably going to be at 5.7K 30 most of the time anyway. You're not going to go in and really play around with the feature through the camera itself. Another way to control the camera is also through your phone. Insta has an amazing phone app which you can use to control the camera, see what it's seeing, see the 360 view in real time, and do all your editing on your phone itself. So it's got a very comprehensive app and it works really well, and that would be my recommended way to play around with the settings and stuff if you want to do something on this camera. But still, it's definitely usable. You can switch between frame rates, see what you just shot right on the camera over here. It's a touch screen, so it's really good. So you can also see yourself in this, which is really, really nice, because you know, now the GoPro 9 has it, but previously none of the old GoPros have it. Another reason why I prefer this camera over the GoPro is the mic capability. So first of all, there's two options. You can hook up AirPods to this thing and use that as an external mic. Alright guys, so here is a quick test of the Insta360 regular lens. This is the ultra wide lens. It does 2.8 aperture, and I'm about 3 or 4 feet away from the camera. It should sound decent. Now I'm going to go back a little bit. Let me move this. Now I'm going to go back a little bit where I'm a little more dimly lit. So this is with the internal mics. Now let's try it with the AirPods on and we'll see if that makes a difference. Okay, I'm seeing the little indicator that's telling me that my AirPods should be connected right now. So hopefully you guys can hear the sound quality difference. I'm not sure if this works with any other headphones or only AirPods. In the menu system, it says AirPods. But let's test it out with the AirPods. Now I'm walking away from the camera and I'm going pretty far away, out of frame even. And you should still be able to hear me pretty clearly. So now I'm turning away from the camera. I'm talking over here. I'm not talking super loud or anything, but you guys should still be able to hear me. Now this is one of the best features about this action camera. You know how hard it is to get good sound on an action camera? And now the Insta360 one allows you to just connect a Bluetooth mic essentially to your Insta360. GoPro makes this such a headache. GoPro, you guys need to fix this like right now. Please allow better mic functionality with the GoPros. Sound quality coming out of the Insta360 one, I would say, is not that great. You'd probably want to use some kind of external mic on this. So it's nice to have that AirPods functionality. And the other thing is you can just use a USB-C to mic adapter and connect this into your helmet, or if you want some kind of lav mic, or you want to put some kind of, you know, directional mic on top of this. So much simpler than what GoPro makes you do, which is put like this media case on it, or have this huge audio adapter on it, which I just had to go through to fit on my helmet since I'm planning to do some motor vlogging and stuff. It's a pain. I would have gone with this instead for any kind of motor vlogging setup. A battery life on this thing is all right. So I shot with this for about 2 or 3 hours for the previous vlog, on and off. So with the 32 GB card in here, I got about 30 minutes of 5.7K at 24 frames a second. So it is a bit of a memory hog. And battery life as well, like by the end of the day, I was left with about 20% battery life after shooting for maybe 20 minutes. It is a bit difficult. The battery life is probably better on the single lens camera, but I would say it's acceptable. And the fact that you can hot swap the batteries as well, it's a plus. If you're going to use it a lot, get an extra battery. Now, a bunch of people in the previous video asked me how I edited that footage on my computer. So this is a little bit tricky. So you have to download the Insta360 Studio. It's available for Mac and for PC. And then from there, you can do the editing within the app itself, but I prefer using Final Cut Pro. And Final Cut Pro does have all the inbuilt functionality to deal with 360 video. But the Insta360 image format for this video is its own custom format. It's .instv, something like that. So you need to convert those videos into MP4 videos or whatever format that you prefer. And then that video can be inputted into Final Cut Pro and then used for editing. So it took me a little bit time to figure this out. The app crashed on me a couple of times while I was trying to export the footage. Don't try to export it to an external drive. Export it directly onto your local drive and you should be fine. It took me a while to figure that out. Exporting to an external drive just crashes the program. But once you get those files in there, from there on, the files are pretty easy to work with, especially in a program like Final Cut Pro. And I've heard Premiere has inbuilt plugins to deal with all this. So overall thoughts about the Insta360 One R. Amazing camera. I would pick this any day over a GoPro. The image stabilization in 360 is just fantastic. Like, it just looks like this thing is floating in the air. I know the new GoPros have really good image stabilization as well. But in my opinion, this camera gives you a lot more flexibility with the 360. It gives you the different media modes. The 1-inch sensor should work better in low light as well. And I just like the concept of it, the modular design. They could release more lenses in the future. They could release a better brain for it, gives you better resolution on it. You know, there's so many possibilities with something like this. And I think it's super impressive. I love the image quality out of it. I love the fact that you can connect AirPods to it and use that as a mic. Alright guys, big shout out to algadgets.com for letting me borrow this thing. I've had it for almost a month now. This month's gonna have a lot of stuff coming up. Next week I'm getting the Xbox One X. Also my new bike's on the way, so stay tuned. If you guys like these videos, hit that like button, leave me a comment, subscribe to watch more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.